Greetings and welcome to Infodome. In this series, we will be delving into the world of Star Wars and to a galaxy far, far away. In this episode, we will look at 20 interesting and lesser known facts about Solo, a Star Wars story. Firstly, let's look behind the scenes at some facts surrounding the production of the film. Number 1. Solo was originally set to be directed by Phil Lord and Chris Miller before they departed midway through filming due to creative differences. Veteran director Ron Howard took over and reportedly reshot 70% of the movie. Number 2. Underwater explosions shot at 120,000 frames per second were used as inspiration for the coaxium explosion on Vandor. Number 3. The holochess game is animated the same way as it was done in the original Star Wars films, with stop-motion animation. Number 4. In order to create an immersive 360-degree experience of the Sabacc game, crew used an Alexa camera and shot the 360 scene with 6 different passes, one tile at a time. In the end, the separate passes were stitched together into one seamless 360 experience users could have in a virtual reality or any 360 player. I will leave a link in the description box below for you to have a go. It is pretty cool. Number 5. Han Speeder is dressed with items as diverse as a Morris Minor bonnet hinge, a set of baguette warmers, and a refueling nozzle from a Vickers VC-10 aircraft. The 1960s style chrome bezels and switchgear for the dashboard were purchased at a second-hand auto parts sale. The final design of the white stripes on Han's Speeder were the result of almost 100 variations of width, shape, length, colour and position. Number 6. The bridges in the frontier town of Fort Yipso were made wobbly using springs from a Land Rover. Number 7. In keeping with the sequels and original trilogy of using practical effects, the production staff on Solo tried to put as many of the effects down on film as possible. We're probably a little jaded about movies now, and that's probably true when it comes to Star Wars. The reason for this is that the prequel trilogy was so heavy on digital effects that it became hard to figure out which of the things we were looking at were actual physical objects. It's nice to know that the streaks of light outside the Falcon's windows were real light on an actual surface. Number 8. Six Eyes is the most sophisticated mechanical head ever produced. It has 50 servers inside the head with on-board intelligence. Number 9. Along with the projection screen to bring the hyperspace effect to the real world, this setup for Han Speeder at the beginning of the movie shows off the practical elements that later became part of the world. It is interesting to see that the often computer-generated craft is also an actual vehicle capable of moving. This shot is especially endearing because of its context. We have Han Solo cruising around in what will ultimately become a floating future car. Then we have a bunch of other guys milling around making sure that everything works. It's a funny combination. Number 10. 9 copies of Beckett's rifle were made. It is the rifle that ultimately becomes Han Solo's pistol. Number 11. Movie production and distributors occasionally come up with fake names to draw attention away from high-profile movies. Solo had its own secret title to continue the tradition, but that hardly seemed necessary because everyone knew it was happening, and nobody seemed optimistic enough to want to snoop. However, the fakery that original directors Lord and Miller came up with was at least pretty clever. The name on the clappers was Red Cup. That may sound like a weird horror movie or comedy about a Russian golfer, but it is in fact a nod to the popular party drinkware called Solo Cups. Number 12. A talented team of 30 artists controlled the complicated performance of the alien underworld boss, Mother Proxima. During the dark scenes at the beginning of the movie, 20 performers were submerged in the water to move the character around the dank and dismal purpose-built environment. Now, let's focus on some hidden gems and Easter eggs you might not have seen before. Number 13. Tobias Beckett wears the guard disguise seen in Episode 6, Return of the Jedi. when Lando wore it as an attempt to save Han Solo from Jabba the Hutt. The disguise is likely stored on the Millennium Falcon. Number 14. In Dryden's yacht there are display cabinets, and among all of the treasures in them are some that have been recognised from other film franchises, such as Indiana Jones. There are the Sankara stones from the Temple of Doom, the fertility idol from Raiders of the Lost Ark, and also the Holy Grail itself. Number 15. It was noted in A New Hope that stormtroopers do not form the primary ranks of the Imperial Army and are in fact supposed to be elite mooks. This finally plays out when the introduction of the Imperial infantry, who, as shown in the Battle of Mimban, are most likely to be green conscripts like Han and are really so terrified, untrained and incompetent that stormtroopers qualify as elite soldiers by comparison. Number 16. What struck us about the Millennium Falcon was just how clean it was. The aesthetic of Star Wars has always been a lived-in galaxy. Everything is grimy and dirty, and it looks like it's been in constant use for years, with only minimal maintenance. That's obviously not true of the Empire stuff, since their look is more shiny, cold, and minimal. In this movie, it's like it just rolled off the line. It makes sense because Lando owns it at this point, and a guy that stylish will keep it pristine. By the time we see the ship in A New Hope 10 years later though, its pampering has been over for quite some time. Somehow Han and Chewie managed to get dirt on every surface. Number 17. The Millennium Falcon gradually turns from a luxury ship in pristine condition, as we just mentioned, into the piece of junk it's famous for in the original trilogy. Han pulls some extreme manoeuvres that heavily damage the ship while navigating in the Maelstrom after escaping Kessel, and makes a rough landing on Savareen. Tobias injects the engines with unrefined coaxium to give the Falcon a nitro boost. The result is a familiar engine failure sound right before the Falcon blasts out of the black hole. Number 18. Lando's droid companion, played by Phoebe Waller-Bridge with a steam-sealing performance, is named L337. This name is reference to Leet, which is an English alphabet unique to the internet, where you use numbers and symbols to replace certain letters. Number 19. L337's memory is uploaded into the Millennium Falcon at the end of the film. In The Empire Strikes Back, C-3PO says he's having difficulty talking to the Falcon's computer because she's rather rude. Number 20. Kira's name is almost certainly taken from Kira, which was Rey's original name in the early planning stages for The Force Awakens. We hope you enjoyed this video. Please leave a comment down below and let us know what your favourite part of this movie is. Don't forget before you go to hit the subscribe button. Until next time.